welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. We have a great topic, and I can't wait to get into it. Before I get going here on Facebook and everywhere else, I want to give a shout out to my people on TikTok. We got 77 people watching on TikTok, and somebody just said, "You so handsome." So shout out to whoever said that. I appreciate that. But all my people on TikTok, I need y'all to come on over to Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or LinkedIn, so we can get into the topic today. We're talking about dating apps and mental health. So we'll get into everything. So my people on TikTok, I'll see you in a second. Come on over to Facebook. Shawty telling me she love me, but let's get into it. You all already know what to do. Let me know where you all are checking in from. And let's get it popping. Isaac, what's up? Ramona, Ashley, Natalie, Shantae the boss. How are y'all doing tonight? I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Victoria, thank you so much. And I've been cooling on my own, ain't gonna lie. Colorado in the house, ATL, Colorado, I said Colorado, Knoxville, Everman, Texas, Jacksonville, Florida, Miami. Brett, what's going on, my guy? Jennifer, what's up? Grand Rapids, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Canada, Oregon, Denver, Colorado. Bettina, I'm happy that you're here in the live. Toledo, Ohio, Maryland, Fort Worth, Texas, Kansas, Kentucky, Port Arthur, Texas. Okay, that's close to Houston. Boston. 3 Bostons. Wow. Phoenix, Birmingham, Illinois, Missouri, Chicago, Augusta, Georgia, Seastack, Texas, Toronto, New Hampshire. Okay. Let's get into it. This topic is a very exciting topic tonight. We're going to be talking about dating apps and mental health. And when you talk about dating apps, it's funny because I used to think that dating apps were like a bad thing, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I probably was maybe even a little bit judgmental to people who use dating apps. I'm not gonna lie, I'm telling the truth because I'm like, why don't you just go to the dog park and flirt with a girl and then or go to Kroger or Ralph's or just meet somebody organically. But after this pandemic, I actually think that dating apps are a great way to meet people. But there's a couple of things that I have to talk about when it comes to the dating apps, the loss of self-esteem, the feeling like you're just like a click or a swipe up and down, left, right, whichever way, the ghosting. So we have a lot to get into. We got a lot to get into. Andre, I appreciate you on Facebook. Yes, Melissa, DNP, Doctor of Nursing Practice degree, class of 2019, Augusta University. I got to represent my school. But yes, let's go ahead and get into the topic, right? We're talking about dating apps and mental health. So, as y'all know, I always do my little rant in the beginning. Like I said, we're in a pandemic, right? So this is only possible because we have social media. So I'm grateful for apps or websites like StreamYard, where I can have a Canon camera, shooting back at me, and we can point this live everywhere, right? We're on multiple platforms. I'm able to broadcast to almost 200,000 people on Facebook, and then the other platforms out there. So social media is a great thing, and the internet is a good thing for the most part. So I'm a big fan of technology, and that includes the dating apps. But if you don't understand what you're looking for, I think that's the big issue with the dating apps today. And for my OGs who are watching from TikTok, who are watching my lives back in the day, y'all know that I tried to create my own dating app at one point because I thought I could pull it off. Maybe it was like an ADHD thing where I just had all this energy, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to put Bumble out of business, But for a while there, I really thought that I was going to do that. And I felt like I could connect people with what they wanted. And obviously it didn't work because I'm here. But I'm enjoying this. And I see Olivia wrote catfishing. That's one of the things that we have to talk about. And you can also be catfished, not in terms of looks. Like, remember that show? I think it was called, what's it called? Catfish, the MTV show with Neve or Nev. But yeah, like catfishing, like if you present yourself as obviously, like if I say I'm 6'7" and I'm a basketball player, that's a lie. You know, I'm 6'3", I'm 210. I'm not a basketball player. So if I said I was taller than I am, that's a catfish. If I put up a different picture of somebody else, it's a catfish, right? But at the same time, at the core of the hurt with the dating apps, right, it comes from the disappointment, and I think that's a part that damages people's mental health, right? It damages your mental health because you expected one thing, right? Like you logged on to TikTok and you saw some girl was like, "I'm done with love forever," and then she downloaded Tinder and she met her husband, and then they have like 3 kids, and then they live in like Denver, Colorado, and it's like everything is aesthetic and it's nice, and her husband is like the perfect guy, like he works out 8 times a week, and he carries heavy things, and like he can fix things around the house. He makes a lot of money, and she's living this perfect life. So you get on these dating apps and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go find my person, right? And then you run into people who are catfishing you, whether it's about the profession or how they look, blah blah, vice versa. This goes for guys or girls. So however you identify, that's not the most important thing here. The most important thing is that people are going into it looking for one thing and they're not getting what they want. And the disappointment is, I think, where it affects people's mental health, right? You talk about some of the bad things that happen on there. Of course, sometimes it can be unsafe too. So I do want to mention that I'm not sure how to talk about the safety measures. Of course, if you go into somebody's house, you never met them before, turn on uh, find my iPhone, or like let people know your location. Just be safe. Your typical safety measures that we have to take. But even beyond the safety, measures, like you worry about wasting your time. You worry about somebody, tricking you. So there's so many things. You worry about the ghosting. And the ghosting is something that I think really affects a lot of people's mental health. And I've always said that I'm not a fan of ghosting. I'm not a fan of ghosting, but I had a debate with a couple of friends, and I said ghosting is okay if, hear me out before you all flip, because I know how y'all like to tussle. Ghosting is okay if I feel like you're in a situation where like your safety is compromised and like that person's dangerous. Like if somebody who you just have bad vibes, like all kinds of stuff happens on the news nowadays. So you feel like this person's dangerous and you don't hang out with them again. Yeah, delete them, block them. Just like that's the one exception to ghosting. So today, on February the 2nd, at 6:41 p.m. California time, I've given you all the one time that is acceptable to ghost somebody, when your safety is potentially compromised. But the ghosting, as we know it, like you meet somebody, everything is going good, you go in 2 days, you never hear from them again. I do believe that it hurts people's feelings, and I never like I know I'm a therapist and I help people out, but you can help people out with things that you don't experience yourself. For example, like I have ADHD, so I tell y'all, if somebody comes to me and they have ADHD, I feel like I'm the best person for you. Like I'm gonna go all out, balls to the wall to help you out. Like I'm gonna do what I can because like I know how it affects me. So I'm gonna do my best to put you in that position to where you can get the help. I don't have bipolar disorder, so I don't know how a manic episode would feel, but I can still empathize with you and help you out. I don't have schizophrenia, but I can still empathize with you and help you out. The same way, I don't remember ever being ghosted, like in a relationship or situationship to where it hurt me. Or I just can't think of any. I'm not saying I'm some type of ideal guy, but I don't remember being ghosted by anybody. So that's something that I can't relate to, but like I'll still help out like a patient or client who's been ghosted. But when I first came to California, right, and being a full-time content creator, working with different brands, reaching out to people over and over and over, spending hours at the computer to try and put together a proposal to work with a certain company. After I would do that, and then I would hear from somebody and never hear from them again, then it hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been ghosted by this company, and it really hurts. And it was starting to like mess in my confidence. I'm like, is my content not good? Like, why doesn't I'm not going to mention company names here, but like, why doesn't X, Y, and Z want to work with me? Like, I think that my content would be good for their channel, So then I finally really understood that, okay, this ghosting thing really hurts. And then I could take it back to the relationship thing and see, okay, and also guys can be ghosted too. I'm not just saying this is a thing that happens to women, or however you identify. Anybody can be ghosted. And ghosting hurts. After working as a content creator, I can tell you that ghosting really, really hurts. So if you're on these apps and you're going through all of this stuff, the ghosting, the self-esteem, the loss of self-esteem potentially, the fact that you're spending a lot of time and energy into it and it's not going anywhere, and then you probably want to pay for the apps, I think, because you don't want to waste your time. But like I don't know how each one works, but I'll probably take Tinder because I think it's the most popular one, right? You have to have like the premium version to pay to see like who's on there, or you can wait. Like it just is more efficient to pay and see what's up. So if you're paying, you're wasting your money, right? And then you're meeting people who you feel like, they're not really on the type of time that you're on, and you're getting ghosted. These things over time, I do believe that they will mess with your self-esteem. So when it comes to these dating apps, we gotta have that conversation. Like, what is it doing for our mental health? Like I said, in the pandemic, and we're still in this thing, right? I think dating apps can be very helpful. My oldest sister, she met her husband on High Five. I don't know if y'all are familiar with High Five. Y'all might not be OGs, but if y'all are true OGs, you remember High Five. You remember MySpace, uh, the old Facebook. High Five was a thing back then. So my sister met her husband on High Five. They've been married for like 13, 14 years. They got 3 kids. So this stuff can work out sometimes. So I don't want you to get discouraged, but you do have to be mindful of your mental health when you're on these dating apps, and that's my rant. And I want to cut my rant short because I want to get into you all's feedback. I want to see what y'all have to say about it. Lakeisha says Black Planet. Okay, shout out to Black Planet. I'm sure people have been mashed up on Black Planet. MySpace, the OGs remember that. Uh, Paywalls, people that tend to pay. Yes, Brett, and that's why we were talking about the guy yesterday who was going on the first date. I really, really, really believe that. Now it's different in California because everything costs more here. But when you go on the first date, you want to cap it. Don't spend more than All right, so California things are expensive. Don't spend more than $40 on the first. Well, I don't know what people are doing. I'm not the relationship expert, but don't spend more than $100 on the first date. Ideally, $40. The less money, the better, because you shouldn't be, trying to impress somebody. But the more money you like, if let's say I spent $1,000 on a first date, this would never happen, right? It would never happen. It's not happening. But if I spent $1,000 on the first date, right, and I ended up telling myself, "Oh, I don't think I really like this girl," I would be hurt because I'm like, "Damn, I spent $1,000. That's 2 PlayStation 5s. That's a round trip to Jamaica." So I think the investment that you put in, like, it hurts if you put a lot in. So as actually, Brett, I like that point. As you use these dating apps, I think it's going to be important to manage your expectations and don't put so much into this app because the app is also on like an algorithm. I don't know how they work, but I believe that these apps are based on like I'm not sure, so this is not the truth, but I think that let's say you have a certain type, you like this type of person. I feel like the app will show you more people like that. You have the paradox of choice. You can't pick between because everybody just like a click or a swipe, and then you have these inflated expectations, and then you're putting so much time into it, and it's not working out. That leads to some of the disappointment and frustration, maybe the depression. It's a lot of yeah. You gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Guys are better at ghosting. So, Crystal, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say guys are better at ghosting, because anybody can ghost. I don't want to make this a guy thing or a girl thing. And Seven says I was ghosted because they felt like they were moving too fast. Well, that's on them. That's on them. Heidi, how are you doing? Yeah, I hope Chris is doing good. Yeah, and that's the catch 22 with doing social media and all these projects. It takes away from seeing patients, and I really do like seeing patients. Like I wish I could do it all. I really wish I could do it all. Paula says just stay single and have fun. I agree, but if you want to stay single and have fun, then you should probably be talking to people who want to stay single and have fun. Because if you're not, then the disconnect comes, right? That's not ghosting. You survived. They know what they did. I'm glad you got away. I thought, yeah, the thousand. I'll just for example, like I would never spend $1,000 on a first date. Actually, let me give you all the feedback. How much is the right amount of money to spend on a first date? Keep in mind, you don't want to frustrate people here. You don't want to, you don't want to throw yourself off. How much is the right? Lady Jones says 100 to 300 bucks. Lady, where are you from, and what are you doing to spend 300 bucks on a first date? 300 bucks. 300 bucks. In case I ghosted someone before and was very overwhelmed with life at the moment. Yeah, yes. So there's reasons why people might ghost, and I'm not judging you. Like maybe you're going through a lot of things, you know. So, but I mean, if you can't communicate, I think it'd be good. So Jonette says spend $10 on the first date. Kate says 10 to 100. Um, Canada. So $300 in Canada. Oh, wow. I don't know if I want to be in Canada. Chelsea says 100 to $225. That's so specific. $225 on the first date. No more than $70 in the middle. I like 70. I can get on board with 70. $100. Okay. 50 to 100. 100. Go Dutch on the first date. I think the person who asked the other person out should pay, regardless of gender. You should host a singles cruise. uh, Johnson says that's actually funny. Johnson says you should host a singles cruise. Uh, I mean, that idea is enticing. I don't know if I want to say yes or no. I don't want to get myself in trouble. There could be so much liability with that. But the idea is very, very, it's enticing. You got a laugh out of me. So, can we talk about first messages? What will be a first message, Trent? First, they don't have the cost of thing. Crystal. I like what Crystal's talking about. For second date, around $100. Uh, Tops $100. I just need a decent conversation on the first day and walk with you. Yeah, Christina, I like that. Christina coming in from LinkedIn. I like that. I don't know. Like things seem so transactional nowadays. My ex and I actually split our first date because I wasn't about to let him buy my drinks. After dinner, we went out for a few more drinks and I let him pay. He was a server chief and made $80 an hour at a time. Okay, so you're making $80 an hour. You make it well into the six figures. But I like how y'all had a system. I mean that's your ex, but y'all had a system. Whoever asks is whoever should pay. Tim Hortons. So I've been to Canada before. Tim Hortons is not $300. Uh, Tim Hortons is not $300. So looks like people are first they should be about $100 for dinner, and if it's going well, a little more for drinks. Brian, that's not a bad idea. Uh, but the reason why sometimes dinner is cool, but sometimes dinner might not be the best, in my opinion, only because sometimes let's say you go on this date, right? And you met the person on the app and then they appeared to like, you're able to stalk people online. Like people Google things. You can stalk them and see what they're up to. So they look like somebody that you're into, right? But 5 minutes into the date, you ask them a question and it's a clear deal breaker, right? For example, you ask them, oh, so you want to have kids one day? And the other person's like, oh no, I have two dogs. I don't ever want to have kids. I'm pretty like solidified on that. I'm never having kids, right? But you really want to have kids. That's not going to work out, right? And they just told you that 5 minutes into the date. Like you pick them up in the yard, driving to, you know, some fancy steakhouse. What's there to talk about? you're gonna spend $100 on somebody. I mean, maybe that could be your friend. So you know, maybe they could be your friend. I don't. It could be your friend. It could be your friend. First day is coffee for me. Then I can run if I need to. Right. So I think that it's all about the expectations. Like when it's a very depressing thing to expect one thing and in reality, like that thing is not there. Or even just take depression as a condition. A lot of times when depression, I had a preceptor describe it as anger turned inwards, right? You're upset because something is not right. Like you saw yourself as this type of person, but in reality you're here. And that disconnect is where some of the resentment comes towards yourself. So it's very depressing when you thought somebody was gonna be like, oh, this person's gonna be my person, but they're not who they say they are. So I think it's healthy to have like an out. So like if you go out for coffee, whatever, it's like $15. Like if you weren't vibing with the person, you can be like, hey, all right, cool. If you are vibing, you can go to park, But it's like there's nothing worse than having to like like survive on a date where you're like, uh, I'm trying to get out, I'm trying to get out, and you can't. Your budget dictates. Okay, I agree. And Trenton says, "Why are first messages always so difficult? What are you talking about? First messages on like a dating app? Can you elaborate on that? And if you all see Trenton's reply, somebody commented again because I don't have a moderator. I'd like to kind of flag what he said. Uh, let me see. My first meeting is always during the day in coffee. Yes, actually, that's another thing. Like if I had a daughter, and I don't have any kids, if I had a daughter, um, I would be actually no. I hope I wouldn't be overprotective, but I don't know because I've seen a lot of things. But I would recommend daytime first dates. You can see the person, the exit plan. Even as a guy, like guys get kidnapped. You never know. You can be set for the okey doke. So you don't want to go to Starbucks at night or not at night, but you want to go to some, restaurant, a hole in the wall restaurant at night as a guy, and then like you get that bad vibes, and then you're looking around and like you've been set up, and then two guys come and like they throw you in the back. Now this is just like exaggeration, right? Um, did he ever reply about the first messages or not? So he never got to that. But someone says I found dog. All right, so Ariel took it back. Yeah. All right, so I think we've established the fact that on the first date maybe somebody said $300, but I think as long as you don't go over 100, that's what I would tell a friend. But it depends on how much money you make. If you make $500,000 a year, $100 to you is not a lot. But I don't know, like $100 is still $100. Like $100 doesn't go as far as it used to, but it's still like $100, right? So to manage your expectations and not to get disappointed, I would say that. And then now it looks like we're trying to figure out what should the first message be. And someone says talk for some time on the phone before your first day. I agree. I like that. It's about managing the expectations. And you just want to actually, if you can, I'd probably say FaceTime. Like see the person. If you don't have iPhone, Instagram, like video call, WhatsApp could work, but I would say you might want to connect with them beforehand. Um, Let me see. I feel like waking up just costs. Yeah. Life. Waking up just costs $100. I agree. Guys need yes, Brett. I'm happy you said that too. Guys need an exit plan, and he said contouring angles and filters. So here's my thing. I've spoken about this on TikTok before. I don't think that as a man I should have any say on what a lady does with her body. Like if you want to get your teeth done or veneers or BBL or extensions, like whatever a woman wants to do, that's fine. Like I got Invisalign, twice, so that's why my smile is the way it is. So if you have the means to fix your whatever you feel is an imperfection, go ahead and fix it. But I think that there's something to be said if you're a lady, and I'm saying this in the most respectful way possible. And I got 80% of my followers are women, so I love y'all because I'm not here without y'all. But I don't watch makeup tutorials on YouTube a lot, but I've seen like the little get ready with me videos on YouTube or on TikTok where in 30 seconds I've seen a woman have like 7 different looks with the makeup, and it's even gotten to the point where like in the second look she looked Middle Eastern, and then in the fifth look she looked like she was from Africa. So like I don't know how makeup works. I think there's like a foundation and there's like the other stuff you put on, and I don't know how it works. So I don't know how it works. But if you posted your photos on a dating app and you had like the first 2 looks and you show up with the seventh look, then somebody might be like literally your date could walk past you and be like, oh, I didn't know that was you. So could be a form of catfishing. Just something to keep in mind. Same as a guy, saying, "Oh, I do this. I'm the assistant to Joe Biden or some whatever big job," and then he's maybe not that. There's nothing wrong with not being employed or living at home. Like I lived at home um, until I was like maybe until like 2017. I stayed at home with my parents, like that was what was best for me financially because I was in school. So there's no shame in doing that. Just is about being upfront with like where you are in life. There's no shame. Someone said, "As for childhood," I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that. Michelle, I think I know where you're going. You're not gonna get me with that one. You are not gonna get me with that one. You will not get me with that one. But yeah, Casey, yeah, the catfishing. You want to be just be like upfront with somebody, and it's a really dope thing when you're just yourself and somebody likes you for you. And I've had that feeling before. It's like the most like it's better than money, it's better than sex, it's better than uh I was about to say it's better than your team winning a Super Bowl, but I don't know if it's better than that. But it's a pretty good feeling when you're just being yourself, you're being goofy, and somebody is like, I like you. You're just being accepted for yourself. Um, I prefer to video chat with matches first. Oh, I did not know you could video chat on the app. Case in point, recently matched with someone and they trauma dumped the F out of me. I won't go into detail, but there was some triggering stuff. Learned this from my ex who I promptly told about the time, uh, and I've never been. Okay, so yeah, it can be helpful to go on a like a virtual, like a FaceTime date and just feel somebody out. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Most people swipe a lot and have never have intentions of messaging. That's one downfall. I don't assume a match means messages. If they don't respond in a week, just unmatch. Yeah, I think that should move pretty quickly. I made it to a fourth date with one guy. He drove that night and had road rage and not so nice of an opinion of other people. I asked him to take me home and I blocked him. Mickey Ficky, these stories are something else. Museum dates are good, awkward and quiet. Actually, the museum is not that bad. I remember I got story times for days. I took a lady to the Georgia Aquarium to go see dolphins. I don't think that was the first date because I had known her, but all I remember is I think I spent too much money. I didn't want to spend that much money. Uh, great fun introduction. I usually comment something in one of the photos. Yeah, so I like what Brittany said. That's a good conversation starter. Just commenting like regular stuff. You don't have to be like you don't have to like say the little pickup lines or whatever. I don't know what people say nowadays. People watching too much Prince and see how Will Smith did it back in the day. But yeah, museums or aquariums would be pretty good. Yeah, and some people do have medical conditions, is why they wear wigs. All right. So I want to get this clear. I'm not talking about if you have a medical condition or you're wearing wigs or like you have cancer. Like I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about uh I mean, the people that get it. It's like, and even as a guy, some men, or depending on how somebody identifies the pronouns, people can change up their looks with makeup and things like that. So it's just about like let's say you enjoy changing your look up and you FaceTime the person you're talking to, let them know, oh, I have this look, I have that look, right? And then it's more so about the transparency. So it's not like this person has a medical condition which makes it hard to date. I don't want y'all to think that. So please, please, please um don't take that as what I was trying to say. Ashley says, I'm not married, but a friend and I used to go to the location of each other's dates and sit in the same restaurant so we could be close enough to help. But the date didn't know we were there. Oh my goodness. The game has evolved. Wow. And that's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. Like whatever provisions that women have to make to take care of themselves, I think that's a fantastic idea. I never thought about that. Um, I'll keep that in mind for when I have a daughter. I'll probably, actually, I'll probably be the one in the corner. Actually, no, God trust her. A lot of people don't take dating apps seriously. Men play on your emotions and the fact you want a relationship just to hook up, and it honestly does take a toll on your mental health. All right, so Rachel, I want to get to that. And if we're talking about mental health, like at some point, you know, talking to somebody, probably when you're FaceTiming them before the actual date, you should probably go over like, where are you in life, right? Somebody who just graduated, let's say they bought a house and they're working their dream career. That person is probably somebody who is like, all right, I'm looking for a husband and wife or, a spouse. And if you're dating somebody, if that person's trying to date somebody who's in college, that person might be trying to like have fun or find themselves. So I think that's something that should be explored in the beginning. Now, if you meet a guy and he's like, "Oh, I really think I want to marry you," whatever, and he's using that just to like get into your pants, and he wants to get the Mickey Ficky out of you, and that's clear deception. So that's the part that's manipulation. You may have ran into somebody who has narcissistic traits, and then your mental health is gonna you're in for a ride. It's gonna be a roller coaster. It's not gonna be the one in Six Flags. It's not gonna be fun at all. I always have a safety partner. I like that. I really like that. I really like that. And I remember even the girl I was dating in grad school, it's funny because she told me that she ran a background check on me before we even hung out. And I was like, I could have told you that I'm not like a bad person, but I get it. Like whatever you have to do to feel safe. I don't know how she was able to run a background check. Um, uh, she worked at some gym. She was able to do it, so it is what it is. It is what it is. Uh, and I like Gina's uh, comment. There does need to be physical attraction, and that's something that we don't talk about too much because it's like not nice to say that, but there needs to be physical attraction. But the good thing is that it's subjective. I might be with the guys and they might be like, "Oh, so and so is so pretty," and I'm like, "She's all right." Like growing up, the guys were always like, "I like Beyonce, I like Kelly Rowland." You know, Somebody might like Michelle. Like everything is so subjective. So you don't have to be like Miss World or Miss America or Mr. Olympia, whatever. But you just have to be like what your person wants. But there does have to be some attraction there. I do agree. I do agree. Wisconsin has open court records. Definitely creeped it. Um, and the ADHD meds. I do have a video on that, Dennis. Check it out and let me know if you can find it. Casey, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Um, Mickey, Mickey Pig is just something I say. It's some slang term I picked up when I was in Mississippi. So it's just to avoid cursing. I say Mickey Ficky. Is that love bombing? So love bombing, to my knowledge, is when you. All right, so I'll just put it this way: love bombing is when I meet a girl and then I'm like, "Hey, um, uh, I know so and so. So for our first date, we're gonna go to Malibu and do all this amazing stuff. And then after that, I'm gonna take you back in my private jet, and then we're gonna fly to Scotland, and then we're just gonna talk to you know, it's exaggeration. I don't even have a private jet, but it's when you do so much so quick and so early, and that person really has no choice but to fall in love with you, right? Like if somebody's doing all that for you in the beginning, like you might just get swept up in it. It's not sustainable though. So it is some sometimes, I mean, people might not realize that they're doing it, but if you're doing it intentionally, I would say that's manipulation. Um, Tinder swindler on Netflix. Watch it before dating. Know the red flags. Don't take loans out for men. So once again, Brittany, that's something that can lead to your mental health falling apart. Taking a loan for a guy, especially one that you just met, I wouldn't recommend that. Not if it's like your boyfriend you've been dating for a little bit. I get that you're invested, but you haven't met this person, you know, and you've been talking to them online for 8 months, and you know where this is going. And Kat says, I always ask what someone's looking for. Sometimes they're honest, sometimes they're not. Right. You should always ask what people are looking for. And it's up to that person to tell the truth. People will always lie. They'll lie with this, they'll lie with other things. But once you've asked them and you've let them know where you are, then you no longer are responsible for anything because you said what you had to say. Kelsey, I appreciate you. Marilu says, my boyfriend looked different from his pictures, but I love his attitude on the dates and fell in love with him, and not just the physical. I'm really attracted to the way he makes me. That's great. That is fantastic. And let's say you have a photo up from last year July, and between July and now you put on 25 pounds. I'm not telling you to update your picture or something like that. I'm just talking about like being able to have different looks, right? And I'm not even coming for people who wear makeup because not just women who wear makeup. So I have to be respectful to anybody who wears makeup, right? But even me, like if I shave off like all of this and then I just leave this and like I cut my hair low, I'll look like a different person. So I might, I could create like a profile somewhere and have all of this, and then I shave it all off, and then that's that's a catfish. That's a catfish. That's definitely a catfish. Destiny Morton, thank you so much. I'm looking at your comment. You have so much enthusiasm in your comments. I'm going to give you a love of the show. My roommate downstairs all week. Nobody wants me. I've been told that I'm too fat and ugly, and I have kids, and nobody wants that. Well, Crystal. So once again, this is the part that I'm talking about. Like if you're on a dating app or you're dating in general, and people are telling you things like that, I do think you have to take a step back for your mental health, right? Because if you're, regardless of the platform, if you're going somewhere and people are telling you negative things about yourself, eventually you're gonna believe it. So remove yourself away from that. I wouldn't believe that. Like sometimes in my head, I'm like, I'll never believe what somebody says about my appearance. Like you have to build that confidence, but it does take some time. And of course, if there's something that you don't like about yourself and you can change it, take the time to make those changes. Don't stress yourself out too much. But the thing about having and like having kids and nobody wants you, that's not true. People say that, oh, I don't want to date somebody with kids, blah blah. Women with kids get married every single day, right? Now I'm not saying that increase your chances of getting married. I don't know, but I know that men still marry women with kids. Women still marry men with kids. So if you're getting a lot of those negative voices, that could be a time to maybe take a break from these apps, right? Because think about it, these are strangers who could say whatever disgusting thing to you, and you might start to believe that over time if you don't like get away from it. And like I talk about ADHD here on this platform a lot. For those of us with ADHD, you feel rejection a little heavier. So all these things could just work together and just kind of like sink your self-esteem in the gutter. So definitely, you have to protect yourself when you're like out there dating. Sometimes people take themselves off the market for a while so that they can just get their mind back right. Everyone has insecurities. Yeah, Kelsey, everybody has insecurities, most definitely. And even for me, I like we grew up, in Nashville with Section 8 housing, and we never really had any money. It wasn't until much later that my parents start to get better jobs. But I never had money growing up, so I was always like seeing kids with money and things like that, and I couldn't fix my teeth, until I was 20. So I had like gaps in my teeth and all that, and I was super skinny. I didn't fill out until like 20, maybe 22, right? So you know, I know what it feels like to like be overlooked by women and stuff like that, and now like social media and things like that. Like life is different for me, obviously now, but I still remember that feeling. Like I still remember Stephanie in the seventh grade when I called her and she was like, "I don't like you like that," and I'm like, "What?" And I went to sleep and I woke up the next day and I was still alive. I'm like, rejection is not that bad, right? But I mean, I'm doing well in life now, but I'm not gonna forget Stephanie from the seventh grade. She was from the Bronx, so she was a straight shooter. She was just, she was honest with you. But yeah, sometimes you don't forget the hurt, in your childhood. So yeah, people have insecurities, and I mean, like I got Invisalign, so I mean, you can fix that if it's something that you can fix. Fix it. If it's something you can't fix, do your best to accept it, and I think your person will accept you. Uh, let's see. I love videos, but have no interest in dating. Nothing's wrong with that. If you have no interest in dating, sometimes you just gotta take a break from it. You just gotta take a break from it. Beauty comes from within. Don't talk the way about yourself. Yeah, like honestly, you have, and that's why like having a good support system is helpful, right? If you go out there and sometimes people don't say things to you, but based off of what they do, you feel a way, right? Like so sometimes you can get a vibe from somebody. It doesn't have to be on a date. It can just be like a business meeting or just a friend. And then after a while, you're like, that person doesn't like me because they did this, or they sat like they put some space between us when they sat next to me. And sometimes you start to believe, oh, I'm undesirable and all that stuff. And I think if you try and date when your confidence is not there, people can kind of smell it. People can sense the energy off of you. Like it's not a tangible thing, but like it's there. People can tell that okay, this person has some insecurity, and then depending on who you run into, if you find the right person who really wants to manipulate you, they're not gonna let you go anywhere. They're gonna fill you up with like a lot of compliments. So if you were insecure about your weight and your hair, right? All of a sudden you have the most beautiful hair in the world, and then your body is the most beautiful, right? And then once they reel you in, they really win. They pull you in, they pull you in, they pull you in. And once they got you, it's like, I got you. Then they have you. At that point, it's like a yo yo. They can do whatever they want with you. And then they're like, they'll say things like, who would ever want you? Blah, blah, blah. But you're already invested. So that's why, like, I do think a lot of people's trauma does come from dating, uh, men and women. Like, sometimes you just have to take that break for yourself and just heal. Nothing wrong with healing. What do when your partner has a different sex drive? I guess that ties into tonight's topic. Uh, I don't know if it's like a first date thing, but at some point when you and whoever you're with, when y'all start to do the Mickey Ficky, you can discuss that, right? Or if it's gonna be apparent that so and so wants it more than the other person, then you have to figure out how important is it. If one person wants to do it and the other person doesn't want to, like, are you gonna, you know, uh, are you gonna start doing it more, or like, is there some underlying reason why you're not into it, or are they like grieving something? Is there been a loss, or like what's going on, or maybe you want to open the relationship up or do something with it. So at some point you'd have to have that conversation, I think. um, do we get labeled for rebel? I don't know. People label you for any, people like to label you for anything. So I think it's important to not disclose everything in the beginning, especially when you just meet somebody. Brittany says, I think the biggest advice I give my friends while on dating apps or dating in general is to not put your past relationship fears into the new ones. One person ghosted you, but maybe the next won't. Don't look for your ex in a new partner. Not every relationship is going to feel the same. So Brittany also gets a love of the show for that. So shout out to Brittany. I gotta read that again. I really like that. I feel like I agree with everything in there. The biggest advice I give my friends on dating apps or dating is to not put your past relationships fears into the new ones. One person ghosted you, but maybe the next one won't. Don't look for your ex in a new partner. Not every relationship is gonna feel the same. And I think that sometimes, and this is for men and women, um, it might be best after like a really, really traumatic relationship, take a bit of a break and maybe find a good therapist, maybe you can find a therapist who dances on TikTok or something like that. But find a therapist who you can talk to and work through some of those feelings because, you know, you're making the next person suffer for what the previous person did. And you're looking, and then you're looking for maybe pieces of your ex and the new person, and sometimes people try to overcorrect. Like, that's a problem in life in general. Like, I'll never forget, this is a sports analogy, so the women might not get this, but I remember the Jaguars are playing the Patriots in the playoffs, and they could not sack Tom Brady. Like, I watched the game, and Tom Brady was like, he had the cleanest pocket ever. Like, he sat there and he was like. So the next year, what did the Jaguars do? They spent all their energy finding people to rush the passer, to get to the quarterback. And they did that, but they neglected everything else. So the same thing with relationships, right? You say your ex was awful at communicating, right? So you look for somebody else, or you look for what your ex didn't have in the next person. So you find somebody who's a great communicator, right? They're a great communicator and they communicate and they do all that perfect. But this is somebody who, they cheat on you, they steal on you, they get you to take loans for them, they do things behind your back, but they communicate. So you fixed one issue, but you disregarded everything else. So I definitely, definitely have to give Brittany a love of the show for that. Colin, what's going on? That's my boy Colin right there. He gets to love the show regardless. Colin was a good friend of mine, actually still a good friend of mine, but he was one of the main reasons why I moved to LA. I remember being in my car. I'll never forget this day. Quick little ADHD side story time. I was in my car in Williamsburg, Virginia. I was at Food for Thought. It was a Friday. I'll never forget because it was payday. And normally on payday, I'm happy. I'm like, oh, I got some more money. But I wasn't that happy. I was burnt out from my work. I was seeing patients all the time, and I was posting on social media. And in my mind, I'm like, I want to do content creation full time. And Colin called me and said that he's moving to LA and he's going to pursue content creation full time. And then the very next day, I called him back and I'm like, bro, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to move to LA. So he inspired me to move to LA and to do this type of thing. So without Colin, I might not be doing this live. So definitely shout out to Colin. I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. Sarah says dating apps are horrible. Ghosting was huge in my self-esteem. I always felt like I was a problem. Very few people tell the truth. People say they want a relationship, but they lied and just want to hook up. So Sarah, that's why I mentioned ghosting earlier, because I think ghosting does a number to people's mental health. Like it makes you feel small, insignificant, and that's trauma. Like that's actually legit trauma. People don't like to say that, but that's trauma, right? You met somebody, you thought that they were tight, and then I was like, you met their mom, you hung out with them for 3 months, they took you to Six Flags, they took you to State 48, you were spending every day with them, and all of a sudden, and I'm just making this up, right? But all of a sudden, you just never hear from them again. That's gotta hurt. You're gonna have so many question marks, like, what did I do? And maybe they found somebody else, but they didn't tell you anything. That's very damaging for somebody's mental health. So I definitely I agree with you on there. And I think Brett said something about uh, getting yeah, anybody can use therapy, and that's why I talk about it. For guys, because we don't really like to open up to people. And if I wasn't in this career path, I would be right there. Like not wanting to talk to people because I'm like, why people don't even care. Crystal says, you want to date me, walk up and say hi. That's what I do. Shoot your shot. No dating sites. right? But now social anxiety is increasing. People have been stuck in the house. I don't think people are walking up to people and shooting a shot anymore. I y'all tell me, is that happening? Are people going up to people and shooting the shot in person? I don't see that often. I feel like I'm healing, but there's other things I know I can get help with. Jacqueline, it takes a brave person to admit that, and I'm definitely rooting for you. Ghosting at that stage is awful. Yeah. Cozy says, "What do you do for yourself for my self care?" I love sports. That's something that I'll never break that for anybody. I spend sports and hanging out with family, video games, working out, exercising, going to events with friends. Pretty much the basic things that people do. But it's pretty much not compromising on that. Like, if my team had made the Super Bowl, I would have paid all that money to go to the Super Bowl because I just enjoy it so much. But I don't enjoy things like I enjoy football. But I would have paid to go to the Super Bowl. But we didn't make it. That's a different conversation. But self care is important, Kelsey. And Crystal says, "Who wants to stay?" Crystal's put herself out there, y'all. She's put herself out there. Crystal, shout out your location. What you looking for? Oh, who said go? Well, Chiefs lost, so you can say that. Um, Erica says, "I had someone shoot the shot at me while I was at work. How did that go?" Oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to talk about work relationships. Man, Mickey Vicky, I got some story time. Erica, how did that go? The only place I go in public is my kids, and I for sure ain't getting hit on. Yeah, I think when you're out with your kids, I don't think that's the best time to hit on somebody. Um, yeah. So Heidi's saying that they aren't, no, because everybody's on their cell phone. Yeah, people aren't going out of their way to. Yeah, people just aren't. Rejection is hard. Rejection is hard. People don't know how to say what they want. If you don't want a relationship or marriage, say it in the beginning. People play games and just want the female body. If it's sex you're after, say that. Let's not waste months for you to mimic a relationship you never wanted. If you don't want to be tied down, say that. People don't want to be truthful, and that's what's affecting mental health. That's the whole problem. I agree, that's a problem. And it looks like you're talking about this within the context of heterosexual male female relationship. Uh, but it could also be the other way around. But I mean, from what I've seen, to be honest, it probably is that way where guys are like, they're gonna lie to get a relationship so that they can sleep with the person. But like, now, I mean, I think guys are learning that they can just be honest and say they don't want to be tied down, because a lot of women don't want to be tied down either. But I do think there's something to be said about telling somebody, on the first date that, oh yeah, I want a wife, uh, 3 kids, and I want a big house in Ohio or whatever. And then 6 months later, you're like, nah, I'm just chilling. I don't really want nothing serious, but I want to keep seeing you. That's where the issue comes, and I think that's what you're talking about. That's what you're talking about. Um, Let me see. Like it's all or nothing. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Oh, someone's a Bengals fan. Shout out to the Bengals. They got it. They got it. They got it. I nearly cried that day, but it is what it is. They beat my Titans. Damn, that still hurts. That really hurts. Katie says, you ask if people actually step out to try and pick up meet others. Observations from my Uber driving. They do it at the bars on weekends, but that's not where I'm wanting to hang out and meet someone. I'm either working, home, or doing family friendly stuff for my kids. Right. And I think that's, well, I mean, hold up. No disrespect to people who meet people at bars. You can meet somebody at a bar and you could be married for 40 years. You can meet somebody at church and divorce after a half a year. Like, nobody's better than the other. I just want to say that. But uh, for the average working American, it's harder to meet people in real life. So I think that's where you put the expectations on these apps, and you look for the apps to kind of save you. And when you're disappointed, it hurts. And you throw in the ghosting, you throw in all the extra stuff. That's where the pain comes from. And a lot of us work from home, and uh, when you work from home, it's hard to get out the house. So where would you meet somebody realistically? You know, like if your work is at home, where you can meet somebody at? Honesty and staying calm is key. Men could be more honest and ladies could be more calm. I agree. I agree. I like that. I agree. The hardest part is you can't go all in because you never really know someone until maybe you start. Brian, oh my gosh. We may have to talk about living together. I like that because it's just a debate. You know, like I said, I grew up in a religious household. I'm still religious. I'm a Christian. Still believe. You know, I'm still a Bible believing Christian. And you know, in the Bible, you don't. You, in the Bible, you're not supposed to do the Mickey Ficky before you get married. So ideally, it wouldn't be best to live together. Um, that's how I've always seen things. But as I've grown up and I'm seeing things from a practical standpoint, and I don't want to get the whole religious debate, but there are some really good reasons as to why you may want to live with somebody before you marry them. I'll just say that, and I'll just leave it right there. There's some really good reasons why you might want to do that. Sam says, I'm a single dad and it's so cold out right now. I'm basically hanging out at Sam's Club or Walmart with my son. Sam, you're making a good point. Like when it's cold, like it's February, you really only want to go to the grocery store, or go to like work or church. Like people don't really want to be out of their house like that. So it makes it harder. So that's why I'm saying when used correctly, these apps could be good, but it could also be hurtful as well. Um, Erica. Oh, Erica has an update. Ooh. Let me see. As y'all can tell, I like the tea. Erica says, it started out nice. The guy was a pilot and so cool and very handsome. Okay, it's going good. Uh, but he started calling me sexy like a day after. And I told him I appreciate the compliment, but I didn't know him that well. He got defensive and started asking if I was a Virginia and shortly ended after. Didn't even get to go on the first date with him, but at least I knew where I stood before he getting attached. Erica, I like that. I like that. And it's cool that you're open to meeting somebody at work. You know, are you a flight attendant or something like pilot? But still, like you know, you peep game from the jump, and you realize that it wasn't worth it for you, so you're like you're out. So I definitely I respect that, and good you did this before you got attached. You know, so that's actually good. And Brian said, I agree with you. I grew up the same, but just after having roommates, I learned. Oh man, I've had roommates, and when I left Virginia, I moved. Well, I don't want to get into all of that, but I told myself that I would never have roommates again. Like the only room now, my roommate now does the same exact thing I do. He does social media. In fact, he even helps me with my social media, so it's like helpful. Like I'm getting an extra benefit from him, and I have a lot of space in my condo, so like I don't even feel like he's here. But yeah, roommates in general are not fun. And I told myself that I don't know, unless it's like family, like my cousin, my brother, the next roommate that like I have would have to be a wife because like roommates are something else. But yeah, living together, you'll learn a lot about somebody. Someone says, "F that living together ended in the worst impression of my life." Uh, and I'm sorry that you went through the worst depression in your life living together. Um, I'm very sorry, and I'm happy you got out. I do want to say respectfully. Let's say you didn't live with the person, you got married to them, and then the government is involved and everything's involved. You have kids, and then you realize who that person was. You know, it'd be harder to get out when you're married. I don't know. I'm not wrong. I don't think I'm wrong or right. I'm just talking. Brian says, "Matt, right." About to use your live as a dating app. You might have to. You might have to. I don't know. We really might have to. Um, does working. Kelsey says your is refreshing. Your observations are always spot on. Does working with people with mental pain get you down? That's a good question. That's a really good question. It doesn't get me down, but what I will say is like depending on what's going on with the patient, right? Uh, you have to kind of match their energy, but you have to be careful with that, right? Like if somebody's depressed, like severely depressed, right? I'm not gonna hop on like the call with them, like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And the person's like on the other end, like depressed. I can't be out. I can't be like this. I have to be like, hey, like you have to match your energy. And sometimes like if you're matching somebody's energy, you become really good at your job, right? But then you have to be careful so that you don't take on that energy like as your as your feeling for the day. So I definitely will say that. So it's very helpful to do other things, right? And I that's why I love social media, and I do that more than seeing patients. But if I let's say I was just seeing patients and like I didn't do social media and that's all I did, and I'm here in the middle of a pandemic and I'm not like connecting with friends, to be honest, it would be really hard to be well, I think I'd be good at my job, but it would be hard to sustain and maintain my mental health without like an outlet. So really, really good question. So I've always had like things that I do outside of work, and I never make like work my main thing. But yeah, I'm human. I could definitely, get in trouble personally if I don't have an outlet and I allow myself to stay at that level because you want to connect with your patients, but you're connecting with them so you can bring them up, but you're not connecting with them so you can stay there. Really, really good question. Farfetch says, I meet men at stores, restaurants, doing laundry, having simple conversation. Okay, so apparently you must have it down. People just want to hang out with you. Um, a flight attendant, or we never got the rest of that story. Single moms are a team package deal. Please understand that a lot of men don't understand that if you date single mom, please understand her time is very invaluable. Love can happen anywhere. Russell Williams being a stepfather needs more praise because we are in the generation where he's labeled a simp. Yeah, actually, so I'm streaming live on Twitch. We can't say that word. That's a bad word. So hopefully I don't get banned off of Twitch. So I forgot that's a buzzword. We can't say that word for whatever reason, the S word. But to that comment, yeah, I mean, like, didn't what's Russell Wilson married? You said Russell Williams. You meant Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson married Sierra. She had a kid, and then on top of that, the kid's father was famous. So it's like, you're gonna hear about him. You're gonna hear about, and he took her on. So that's what he loved. But the thing about Russell Wilson is he understood what he was getting himself into. I'm pretty sure. So just understand before you get involved. I agree. I completely agree. I completely agree. Um, is there another question? There's another good question in there. Uh, I had roommates from 18 until I was 25. Very challenging, but it was a huge lesson in patience, empathy, and compromise. Okay. I think moving in my boyfriend and his kid went smoothly because I had way more difficult living situations in the past. Oh, I like that insight. I like that insight. I don't do dating apps because I feel pressure. Oh, good. If you feel pressure to hook up and you don't want that, and the app is causing you to do that, then I would agree. Then I wouldn't do the app because you're gonna feel like you're not in control. Um, uh, my dad was a private investigator, and most people who do the ghosting are married. And oh, yeah, I never thought about that, but I think a good first date question to ask is, "Are you married?" Because a lot of people, this happens. Like this really happens. I've heard it so many times before. We met on Bumble, and it was the best first date. We moved in and had the best year. Then I got a text message saying I'm done. Oh, ooh, ooh. I'm sorry. Wow, I'm sorry. Very, very sorry. Laura says I hate the dating app. Seems to be two extremes. I don't want to get. I don't want to run off and get married. There's no summer friendship anymore. Am I too old fashioned? I don't think you're too old fashioned. It's just a different time that we're living in. Different time that we're living in. Um, you know, uh, I had a roommate for I had a roommate for 2 weeks. Uh, yeah, and I did live in Virginia for a little bit. Yeah, Giselle, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Brian says it's because we see the flags and think that they really aren't. Yeah, no. Sometimes when you notice the red flags and you like somebody, you'll let them slide. Um, and but if you're in tune with like your boundaries, it can make it easier to catch a red flag and move on. Let me see. I'm a paramedic. I was working at while working. I had a sweet discount. Okay, Eric, I like that. I like that. Okay, so you're a paramedic, and that's how you met that person. Okay, I'm happy that you got out before you got attached because I don't think people like because you'll meet somebody, right, and then you'll do what you do, and you'll realize that okay, this person is not good for my mental health. But why do you think people realize that but still stay? It's because the attachment has been formed. That's one of the reasons why I think. So if you can figure out that something's going on that you don't want that thing to go on and it's not going to change, and you can muster up the courage to leave, it's a tough decision, but it's going to help with your mental health. Because some cheaters actually be dealing with mental health. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would definitely say that. And having empathy for the cheater, and it's cheating is more like a it's like a betrayal. It's not the fact that so and so hooked up with somebody else, but it's like they did that, they didn't tell you. Like it's different from like now you have people who have open relationships, and people who say it's a communication, because the betrayal comes from the 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 bad feeling comes from the betrayal, and then you're feeling guilty like you were not good enough or whatever. The person didn't even have the decency to tell you, oh, this is how I feel, blah blah blah. I've learned the hard way, but thanks for the affirmation. Yeah, but Erica, like now, as we know, we do better, right? Dating and soul ties would be, oh, okay, ooh, yeah, oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. I like that topic. I like that topic. I like that topic. I came here because I'm actually getting out of a negative relationship. I love to say I'm outgoing, but I know I'm a shy one. Well, you have a good awareness, and sometimes after you get out of a bad one, you might want to like chill, like chill out for a second. When's a good time to discuss your mental health with a date or a partner? Ooh, I knew you missed yesterday's show. I feel like we spoke about that yesterday. But in a nutshell, when you're ready, but I wouldn't do it like right away. Take some time to get comfortable with the person, because you could be running into somebody who could use that against you, and then they could ghost you. I'm not saying that they will. You shouldn't like we shouldn't operate in fear with anything, right? We should let anxiety get the best of us. But at the same time, like if you made like a certain mistake 3 or 4 times, like and it keeps happening, you might have to say, hey, this keeps happening. I keep telling people about what I'm going through from the jump, and then they keep manipulating me, blah blah blah. So just pattern recognition, figure out like what's going on, good spatial awareness. You're married to the other friend, anyone that ever hurt, upset. Yeah, Crystal, yeah, I like that. Yeah, those are questions you probably need to ask. Those are questions you probably need to ask. Um, it takes a while for you to develop feelings. I don't get invested too soon. That's a good thing, Gina. But then you could meet somebody who could flip the script, and all of a sudden you're getting invested like really fast. I'm usually the one to start a conversation. Okay. And we have this comment here from Meg. It only gets worse if you have children with them. I had 3. It took 5 years to get back on my feet. So decompressing from being in a homeless shelter. It honestly felt like I was suffering consequences of a drug addict just because I didn't see red flags soon enough. Hardest 5 years of my life. Meg, I'm sorry to hear that. And a lot of times people have guilt after like a toxic situation, because you're telling yourself, oh, if I didn't get in this relationship, I wouldn't be in this situation. And now like I'm in this situation and it cost me this. It cost me that. It cost me my time. It cost me my freedom. And it's hard to like move forward when you're like the guilt has you trapped in the past. So I definitely, sending a lot of love to you that you can work through that. I think ADHD has a lot of shame associated with impulsive behaviors. Yeah, yeah, Marty, you're right. There's a lot of yeah, you're right. You're right. Miss says they as present what someone's ideal is, not their standard, so it's hard to get past that. Right? Yeah. I mean, for me, I just think it's a good conversation starter. Right? It should allow you to meet somebody and figure out whether you want to talk to them more. But I wouldn't romanticize somebody off of their page, right? Like that's the best. If you think about it, what somebody would put on a dating profile, that's like the best you'll ever get them, or like that's the best version of themselves. Because everybody has positive attributes and the things that we're working on. So every positive attribute is going to be highlighted on that profile. They're not going to tell you that I'm behind on this, or I forgot to take care of that, or I missed trash day today. They won't tell you that. So I do think it is very important to understand that. Don't let your romanticization of that person's profile cross over into the real life. Um, was a couple years before. Yeah, so sometimes it takes a while to get to get back into it. You know. Here's a question. My daughter has ADHD, and I'm afraid to be in a relationship because I don't want the person I be with to judge her. How do you discuss your child's mental health with a new partner? I'm avoiding dating because of the stress. I hope you answer. Well, Tina, I see your question and I'm going to answer. So you're afraid that you're afraid that the person that you bring into your life is going to judge you and your daughter because your daughter has ADHD. How would you discuss your child's mental health with a new partner? I'm avoiding dating because of the stress. So I wouldn't necessarily avoid dating. Like if you want to date, yeah, pursue it. Go ahead and date. But the beginning is gonna be the hardest part. Like you should be screening people. Like it should be like a job interview. Like you shouldn't be trying to fit like a square into a circle. Sometimes I see that happen a lot. I think I see it from my personal experience. I see it more with women than men. Men kind of see women for what she is at the moment, and women kind of see like the potential some of the times, or a lot of times. So it's like if you see potential in a guy and you overlook the fact that he's doing some things that concern you, it could be an issue. So obviously, meet somebody like, look, no, yeah, I got a child, and you know, I do this for work, and yeah, some cool stuff. Like I wouldn't get into all of the extra stuff, um, or at least feel them out first. If they're telling you about, maybe the guy will be like, "Oh, I have ADHD too. I can help your daughter out," right? Like you never know, but you want to take your time before you let people know certain things, and it's not out of like fear or paranoia, right? And like I'm a very positive person. Like I dance in the videos, like I'm happy and all that stuff, but at the same time, there's an element of like being like practical and like just knowing people and knowing how things work. It wouldn't be wise to not protect yourself, at least in the beginning. So it should be like a screening process, weed people out, and if you feel comfortable with somebody, then proceed and tell them, yeah. So my schedule is a little tight. I help my daughter out with homework because she has ADHD, so it's something that we live with. We don't want any sympathy for it. Like this is what we do, and the right person, is not going to make you feel bad for that. Can we talk about the Boston people only matching to gain followers to subscribe? Brian, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? I just can't know how my ex uses the internet to find victims. Yeah, I mean, look, and I hate to say it, but some people are really looking to like play people, men and women. Like these things happen. Like I said, I like to be happy and optimistic, but you don't want toxic positivity where you're like, oh, everything is good, and you'll go find somebody tomorrow. Nah, you're gonna be back here in my life, and we're gonna be talking about similar topics Now, you might find somebody, but like you don't want to set people up for the okey doke. Uh, Tasha, thank you so much for joining. Be bold for your daughter. I agree. I agree. You have to be bold. Be bold for your daughter. Cheating is like I-95 with the exits. If someone is suffering mentally, they need to get out of control first. They need to carefully date. Never excuse her. Cheating is never excusable. Right, right. I agree. I don't condone it. I don't condone it, right? And you might have empathy for somebody. Maybe they were in a math episode, and I don't know. I'm not saying that we should condone it, but if you can empathize with them, you'll have an easier time forgiving them, and forgiveness is for yourself. Okay. Oh, so OF. That's a buzzword. That's a that's a buzzword on a lot of sites. I've only been banned on TikTok live one time, and I'm like, "Why am I banned?" I don't talk about like bad stuff, but I mentioned OF like the full phrase, and I got banned. All I say about that is if you can't see yourself with a person who is on that site, then like don't 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 even get started to where you're dealing with that person. Because if you deal with that person, you know that they do that, then you have to accept them because like those are the terms that you knew you're walking into that. Another Kelsey, the dog's in the crate, playing around with her a little bit earlier, so she gets some time to relax. Laura, another big frustration with apps. As a bisexual woman myself, I gotta be honest. Be honest. Talk to me. Talk to me. It's gotten to the point that I'm almost even more suspicious of overly interested women than I am of men. Laura, why do you say that? I'm not too familiar. Like I don't know why you would say that, but let me know. Um, as a lesbian, there's like 20 women to choose from on these apps. It gets awkward quick. My personal experience had never joined. Okay. All right. So, Laura, I know, I think I know what you're getting at. I know a lot of people who have dabbled and dabbled like that. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not too sure the stats on that. I'm not too sure the stats on that. A lot of times you match with someone, then they're afraid to one of the social platforms and never. Brian, I see what you're talking about. Um, yeah. In my opinion, that would be an automatic, like unnatural drop. Um, I would say so. Only because it's like if you match with them, you're trying to get to know them and see what they're up to. Now, if you went to their subscription website from the jump and like that's what you wanted, then that's what you wanted. But if you match with them, you were just trying to see like what their favorite color was, right? You're just trying to see like what high school, what year did they graduate high school, like what they like to do for fun, how you spend your weekends. Like you don't want to see all of that. So yeah, I get it now, y'all. At first, I was like, what are we talking about? And Christina, we're talking about dating apps and mental health. And of course, this live is going to be on um, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter after the fact. So it's going to be there. So don't worry about that. Mulaney, I'm 29. Let me see. So Elizabeth is saying that. Okay. They're bots, not actual people. Gotcha. Issa Rae had a good episode regarding her manic boyfriend on Insecure. It reminds me of that. Oh, I've not seen Insecure. I'm a big fan of Issa Rae. It's weird saying that, and I haven't seen her show, but like I like her. I watch her interviews and her dedication to her craft. But yeah, it'd probably be a good idea to watch the episode. I think I can probably shed some light into that. I can shed some light into that. It's hard to find someone who's compatible. Yeah, it is. Definitely is. If is trying to take the combo off the app is a no for me. I don't get that. In my opinion, let me see what Marty's talking about. Uh, giving someone a safe space to make their toxic choices, and approach you and say they made a mistake without you shaming them, and as long as they have a true willingness to change. Marty, I like that. So Marty gets the love of the show. I like that. Marty gets to love the show. I like that because I think, like when you talk about like love and like being there for somebody, you can understand that somebody can hurt you. You don't have to stay. They can hurt you and you can still leave. But like you'll still respect them as a human being and give them that safe space to not have that shame. So I like that, and I'm not telling y'all if you've been cheated on to stay. No, like cheating is like that's good enough, a good enough reason to leave. So you can still leave, but you can still have that empathy for that person and realize that they're a person who's worthy of love, attention, and respect, like all of us. So you give them that safe space to process what they've done, and then if you choose to leave, then go ahead and leave after the fact. So I like that. Let me see. Maria Porter, what's up? Or at least emotionally mature enough to be able to interact in healthy ways. But yeah, it's emotional maturity. I would definitely say you have to be emotionally mature to process certain things. I think cat means exchanging numbers of Snapchat or IG, whatever, too early instead of chit-chatting. All right, so Elizabeth, I get that. I thought that moving the conversation off of the app to your phone means that you actually want to get to know the person. But I could be wrong. When you try to go off app and want direct access. Well, actually, come from a lady's perspective, it might be safer to stay in app and ensure your safety and things like that. And obviously, if somebody is asking for nudes, it's a red flag from the jump. Mickey Ficky. I think my issue is I'm picky. I tell people from the jump, let me know what's up. I'll swipe, not interested for hours. I refuse to date someone I don't want to look uh, and love 24/7. Okay. I refuse to marry and we're not compatible in and out of the bedroom. I hope none of these are buzzwords. No, those aren't buzzwords. I hear so many stories. Being married for 16 years, a lady was faithful and never. It won't let you finish the rest out. But yeah, I mean, it's like whatever you want is whatever you want, and that should be fine. Like the boundaries of what you have to like. You protect your mental health by having the boundaries. Exchange for okay. I don't know what's going on with these guys. You're correct about telling people your business. They'll use it against you. Guilty. If that happened, I'd open up. Yeah. So I wouldn't say stop opening up to people, but figure out like what is worth, like who is worth opening up to. Um, say picky. I probably say Mickey Ficky. Uh, what do you mean by picky, Erica? Um, yeah, boundaries are like a lot of things boil down to boundaries. Like when you look back at the situation and you're like, how did I get stuck? And sometimes you don't realize it until like 6 years has gone by, and you're like, how did I spend 6 years with this person? And I saw the issues in the second week of dating. You probably didn't have the boundaries, or you just you forced yourself to overlook the red flags. Um, and sometimes it takes that accountability on your part, regardless of whoever you are, to tell yourself like, all right, I didn't do the best with putting in my boundaries and being attentive to the signs and symptoms of a narcissist or whoever you ran into. Oh yeah, Mickey Ficky, yeah. Not Mickey Sticky, it's Mickey Ficky. Mickey Ficky. You need someone who understands what's yeah. Boundaries promote your self love. I completely agree. It's always the first message after you give them your snap or text message. So I didn't know adults were on Snapchat like that. Like grown adults. I mean, Snapchat is for everybody, but I thought it was more so for teens. It rhymed. Okay. Oh no, 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 Erica, you're good. Like this is laid back. This is laid back. We're just we're vibing out here. You have any dating tips for people who don't like to be touched? My daughter hates physical contact, and she's having trouble navigating the dating world. Ooh, so good question. I think it's important for her to obviously like that's something that you'd want to tell your person like in the pre-date, like on the FaceTime or on in the phone call. Say, hey, oh, yeah, like just jokingly say, oh yeah, I'm kind of weird. Like I'm not really a fan of like being touched, at least until I get to know somebody, right? So then if she meets somebody and then that person's like, hey, or shakes her hand or like fist bump, you can tell that person's being mindful of her boundaries. But if the person's like trying to give her like a big bear hug, then it's like you didn't listen to what I'm saying. So you can weed out a lot of people in the beginning. So that's a good thing. The bad thing is that you weeded out a lot of people. You don't know like your sample size is small to choose from. But it's just about like speaking up about what she doesn't like and what she does like. Literally, it's the small things that it could be something that is like I might meet somebody and say, "Don't put my dog on social media," and if I tell somebody, "Don't put my dog on social media," then that's what it is. That's my boundary, or whatever it is. Like, they have to be able to respect that, and she can find somebody who can work with what she has going on, and that will probably be somebody whose love language is quality time as opposed to physical touch. So, yeah, she she should be all right. She'll be all right. Disney has broken me. I do. Oh, Mickey Ficky. I think Disney has messed up a lot of things for a lot of people. Like Disney and how they painted this romantic fairy tale. It's yeah. They have messed up the game. Learn to compartmentalize my selfishness and selflessness has been a difficult. Oh, Marty, I like that. Yeah, and sometimes with ADHD, you have the all or nothing type of thing. Ah, back to dating apps. I was there for years. I also think apps can become very addicting. I think they can be addicting too, right? Anything that is like that is like kind of like swipey, like a TikTok or like a Facebook Reels, whatever. It can be addicting because you can be on there for a long time swiping up, watching videos, or swiping on people. Little bro, no. Uh, I hit call me up a little bit. I'm trying to write. I'm on live. It's saying I'm in love. What? Uh, Let me see. You got asked so many questions. Men lie about their backgrounds. I had a coworker whose mom married a creeper and she allowed her kids. Oh, ooh, Mickey Ficky, I'm sorry. Ooh, Mickey Ficky, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, but yeah, I would not bring the OF and the subscription sites into the dating apps. Um, Definitely wouldn't do that. Definitely would not do that. And yes, men and women lie. I don't think it's just men. Like people lie. People lie. Um, Lindsay, yes, I think there's so much like value that comes in like pursuing a diagnosis, and I've definitely seen that with a lot of people who are on the spectrum. They don't like to be touched, or maybe if they like to be touched is by like a specific person or maybe people that they know, but they're not a fan of like hugs or like just like affection shown through physical touch a lot of the time. So, not saying that she's on the spectrum, but I think there's value in pursuing a diagnosis. Um, the dopamine. Yeah. So, I mean, the dopamine can come from meeting somebody new, right? All of a sudden, you think that that's your perfect person, and eventually it wears off, and you see the real person. You have to be in a position to appreciate that person. I thought I was intimidated by or too freaky for the nice guy, but hell, the crazy comes out of them too. I don't know. Where do I go with that? I mean, why do people associate nice guys with not being? I don't know. Okay, I mean, there's different definitions for different things. Um, I feel like I will find someone that seems fun. Then after a few months, they start wanting to change me, or they change. But at that time, it's important to have a conversation. Um, through ADHD and autism go hand in hand. So there's a lot of link with ADHD and other mental health conditions, but just because you have ADHD does not mean that you automatically have autism or you're on the spectrum. Yeah, Jennifer, online dating is it's that's how we're talking about the dating apps. It's its own world. If you don't navigate properly, I think you do put yourself in a position for your mental health to suffer. Bringing people around my kids, yeah. Once again, like my good friend Dr. Ish says, he tells his clients to wait 6 months before they do that, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Actually, not. I don't know what y'all talking about. I've fallen asleep twice watching this. Hey, Daria, I appreciate that. All right, Maria, talk that talk. Uh, Brian, I'm trying to figure out how I can stop looking like an F boy. I hear that I pull that vibe off. So, what are people saying for you to pull that vibe off? What are people saying for you to pull that vibe off? You know, because I don't know the definition of F boy or a fuck boy, whatever it is. You know, it changes from time to time. I have a hard time with people lying to me. It gets me so upset. Um, uh, right, but you can't control that. Keep in mind, like every day people could lie. You know, like people do lie. Like you can't control it, but once you peep game and you figure out so so's lying to me and this is what it is, you know, you can just keep moving. Um, it's hard to introduce the kids when you don't have much time. Yeah, true, 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 true. Kelsey, I think I have a video on that on my page. If not, I'll go back and look for that one and put it back on my Facebook page. Specifically, circling back to apps and mental health, I found that the apps do kind of bring out the worst emotions in me. The longer I mess, oh, okay, that was kind of worded weird. Let me read it better so it reads smoother. Specifically, circling back to apps and mental health, I found, oh, it keeps moving. I found the apps do kind of bring out the worst emotions in me the longer I mess with them. I get very discouraged with sifting through so much bad to try to find anything good. Oh, yeah. There's a link there, and I don't have any steady. I don't have any like I don't have like an evidence based study to prove it to you all. It's just like a feeling that I also have. So it's just a feeling. It's not fact, but I do feel like maybe the constant rumination and scrolling, you know, could be damaging for your mental health. Uh, Still waiting. It's important to make. Still important to wait to make sure you actually like someone before you let your babies grow an attachment to them. I agree. I completely agree because kids don't forget, you know, and it's tough to like break up with somebody's sons, break up with somebody's kids. I would imagine that'd be way harder. That'd be much harder. Let me see. Mhm. Oh yeah, I'm down to go to the gym. Let's see any last minute questions in here. Um, do they? Social media is making it toxic. Yeah, I agree. Other people will just wait. Yeah, sometimes you can go a long way with just patience and waiting and just figure out like where you're at, where you're looking for, like what direction are you moving towards. Just give yourself some time to breathe. Just breathe. Give it time. You can go pretty far with that. Um, let me see. I've not watched Tender Swindler. Let me see. Let me see that. Tender Swindler. True crime. Oh, a fraud man who attracts women using a popular dating app and tricked them out of millions of dollars. Oh wow, wow! I may have to watch that, y'all. I may have to watch it, and then it's a 2 hour documentary. I think I'm gonna watch this. Yeah, I think I'll watch it soon, and then we'll probably have a live on this. But yeah, I need all y'all to go watch the Tinder Swindler. And we can have a live on it. I'll probably give y'all like a week or so to watch it, and after that, don't watch that specific live, or we're gonna have spoilers. I saw that there's. All right, if you watch it, don't ruin it for me because I will watch it. It's 2 hours. I think I can make it through it. I think I can make it through it. Um, what was Brian saying? I just say me. Yeah, and sometimes I think people might call somebody a fuckboy to manipulate them because that's not what they want. So it just depends. Um, let's see. Oh, yes. All right. Let me end on Kelsey's thing. Also, somebody said something about somebody losing their life after going on a dating app. Yes, please. Like, safety is no joke. Like, put your Find My iPhone on, whatever you can do to stay safe. Please, please, please do that. Men and women, anybody, because these things just happen. So, like, I'd love to be here and like clap and laugh and say that everything is always great, but it's not always great. So please take the necessary precautions that you have to take when you're going, somewhere with somebody you've never met before. And also, I, I don't mention this every live, but I have disclaimers on my Facebook page. I have disclaimers in the ADHD workbook that I put out. Anytime, I probably should say it more, but I have this stuff in writing that, if people have any type of, you know, thoughts about not wanting to be here or any type of mental health crisis, to please seek emergent help. Somebody just alluded to that in the chat, so I always like to just kind of put that out there. Like, we have fun out here, like we're just shooting the breeze out here and having fun. But like, if there is a true mental health crisis anywhere, because I can't catch every single comment, but if there's a true crisis somewhere, please seek emergent help. And that's something that, like, legally, like, I need to put that everywhere. I feel like I already have it everywhere, but it's just something nice to mention because you might be in a situation where you might be going through it. But I think that's worth mentioning before I get off of here. So I'm about to get off of here. I'm about to head out. I've got to give me a nice little workout in, and no patients tomorrow, so I might be able to sleep in. And I gotta see what videos I need to take care of. But this has been a blast. Kelsey, thank you so much for that. This has been a blast. Tomorrow we have Dr. Sasha Hamdani coming on to talk about ADHD and relationships. It's going to be a special Valentine's Day edition of the show. I can't wait to get to it. Dr. Hamdani, she's a bomb. She's one of my favorite, not just one of my favorite psychiatrists, she's just one of my favorite people of all time. She's genuine. I met her off of TikTok, and then she became a good friend. I met her family, just really good, supportive people, and she's somebody who wants to help. She talks about having ADHD herself, and I love her transparency online, about how it affects her, as a wife, as a mother, so she's transparent and great person, great doctor, comes from a great family. And she's just willing to be open and vulnerable. And especially when it comes to ADHD in women, she can dig deep into that, like a little bit deeper than me, especially when you talk about some of the hormonal influences on people's ADHD. Like, she's really good at that. She's an expert. So we're going to be talking about ADHD and relationships tomorrow. We're going to have her on. So when I bring her on, I need y'all to, wherever y'all are at, I need y'all to clap as loud as possible to hype her up, so that way we can have her on again. But she's fantastic, and I can't wait for her to come on tomorrow. So that's tomorrow's show, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. So I'm excited for that. But until then, I will see you all later. Thank you for all the support. On Facebook, we're close to like 200,000 followers. That's super exciting. TikTok, we're close to 2 million. And I don't know the others off the top of my head anywhere else, but I'm having fun. Thank you so much for this. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.